Hey guys, thanks for joining us this week at the Creative Boss Method. We are bringing you yet another workshop that we have, and we are so excited about this one because we are going to be focused on some really fun topics that are helping you scale and grow your business. So first, to introduce myself to those of you who don't know me, I am Crystal, the content director and photographer for Crystal Clear Photography.
And I'm Kayla Butler, the CEO and founder of IvoryMix.com.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us again. We, of course, being that we are so interactive on our own social media platforms, we want to encourage you to do the same thing. So we want you to take those selfies and tag us or show us what you're working on. Even send us a screenshot of you working and going through the workshop itself and tag us so that we can share it and cheer you on and talk to you about the things that you're working on in your business. And you can do that through tagging either of us individually, or you can hashtag Creative Boss Method.
Yep. Can't wait to see what you guys are all working on. That's why we want to do this. We want to see you guys getting social and growing your business, and it's just fun for us to connect.
Absolutely. It'll prompt us to interact. So today we're going to dive into scaling your business, which I feel like is always the exciting part of growing your business, is taking it to that next level and figuring out how you can grow your business and where you can grow it. So we're going to tackle both of those areas with lots of different examples and stuff today. So get out your pen and your paper and let's get in.
Yeah. Woohoo. Yay.
little happy dance. So to start, we're going to focus, what are some of the main areas of scaling? Because there's many different ways you can scale your business. And so we wanted to start by just kind of highlighting what kind of ways can you actually scale and grow your business. So the first one is obviously going to be scaling customers and growing your audience. When you're trying to grow your audience, you're going to help increase your conversions. So maybe you want to just increase that customer base that you have. I feel like most product businesses kind of fall a little bit more into this area when they're initially scaling and growing their business, because it's more about getting more customers, to get their hands on your products. And so in order to start scaling via customers, you want to start growing your audience. If you listened to last week's workshop, we were talking about, revenue and numbers and things like that. And one of the things we kind of touched on briefly was when you grow your audience, you see those rates and everything continue to increase, which increases your conversions, basically the number of people who are actually buying things from you. So that's why scaling your customers is just one section that you can focus on when it comes to growing your business.
Yeah, ultimately, there's really only these three areas that we're talking about. And one of the easiest ones that comes to anyone is growing your audience. I mean, you're going to make more money. You're going to grow your business the more people you're reaching, especially if they're very targeted, like your perfect customer or potential customer. So that definitely is one of the main areas for scaling your business. The next one is scaling your products. So if you have one product or multiple products, how do you scale your business by scaling your products? And that's through adding different products, new products, or varying your existing products to create more. So if you have one, let's just take an online course creator, for instance. If you have one big, massive online course, maybe from that one big course, you could create mini courses out of some of the bigger pieces within the big course. Or could you bundle your one course into a bundle of some additional courses to create a varied product line within your online courses that you offer. So by adding complementary items or by expanding on existing things that you have, you therefore create more opportunities to create sales in your business and create more opportunities for previous customers to buy more from you. So we're going to get into all of that, but that is another area that you can scale in your business is the products that you offer.
Absolutely. And then of course, lastly, you can scale in your pricing. Everyone, knows that you can increase pricing and things like that. So that is one way that you can also scale. So we'll touch a little bit on that too, because you can really dive into the numbers more. So again, if you went through the revenue stuff that we were talking about last week, you probably were also looking at some of the things that you've spent money on, the type of expenses that you have on a month-to-month basis. So kind of looking at those expenses and seeing where you can cut back on things, or maybe finding stuff that might be a little bit more cost effective, or even considering raising your prices if you're more on the service-based side. I see some more service-based businesses raising their prices, but there's a couple of different options, around scaling when it comes to your pricing. So as Kayla mentioned, we're going to kind of just dive right on into everything and elaborate a little bit more on these.
Yeah, so this is kind of a little graphic that's going to play as I'm talking, but this is really how to set goals for scaling each area of your business. So what this graphic starts at is, and I'll let it kind of loop here for a second, it starts with customers, average price, and transactions. So let's say you made a goal of increasing everything by 10%. Increasing 10% customers, average price, that increased the profit to $2,662. But what if you doubled the average price only? That increased the profit even more. So you can focus your growth on the individual items, customers, average price, or transactions, or you could focus a lot more energy on one and make the numbers really start to change in your business. So you could see by adding 10%, it increased the profit a little bit, but by adding 33% or doubling the average price of your products, that actually increased your profit by over double. So you can see how doing these kinds of things in your business and really focusing in on the individual areas that you can scale in your business can really affect your bottom line. Because you might think, wow, this is a lot to tackle, grow my audience, increase my product line, and increase the number of transactions people take. That's a lot to undertake. But if you just focus on, maybe you just need to raise your rates, or maybe you need to cut your expenses so that you're making more profit off of each transaction, that could, benefit your bottom line as well. So a lot of times we go right for the audience, like how can I scale and grow my audience to get more sales, when really maybe, just maybe, you need to add a higher ticket item to your product line. Benefiting your audience and really giving them something of high value, high touch. So you're giving them lots of, goodies inside of this, more expensive product, giving them all the value, and then converting that same audience. So you really haven't grown your audience too much more. You're just really focusing on developing a product that focuses on exactly what they need. It's high touch, it costs a little more, but it actually benefits your bottom line. So when you look at this little equation, the transactions number, by the way, that's number of transactions per person. So let's say you have 10 customers. How many of those 10 customers are going to buy one product from you or one service from you? And how many of those customers are going to buy 2 or 3 products? Because if you have multiple online courses, for instance, maybe all your customers are perfect customers for all of your online courses. So how can you convert more of your customers to buy more of your courses? So that's how you increase the number of transactions your customers make. Is that making sense? Because yeah, so that's all scaling business really has to do with, is how often can you get your customers buying from you? So let's take toothbrushes, for instance, okay? You need to change your toothbrush every, 6 months. I have no clue. But how does a toothbrush company get customers to keep coming back to buy more units from them, right? So that's what we're talking about right now. How many transactions can you make your existing customers come back to you for? So if you create products like a membership, for instance, or stock photos that aren't in a membership, that just comes to mind because it's something I do. But if you can create some kind of a product that people continually come back to you for, then that's more transactions and more things that your customers keep coming back to you for. So it's just another number in the equation. So it's not just how many products do you have to offer. Maybe it's the same product that they keep coming to you for over and over again. Like one thing that comes to mind is we just started adding social media captions into the stock photo membership. So that's a monthly reoccurring thing. If I didn't have a membership, maybe I would just offer that monthly version and they could just come back to buy every month whenever they needed it. So these are just things to think about, but there's lots of ways to increase the number of transactions and increase the average price or increase your product line without really worrying about growing your audience, So there's lots of ways to grow your business without worrying about having 10,000 followers on Instagram or whatever.
Absolutely. No, I totally agree. And I think, I want to tie it back to the fact that we did, last week's workshop around the revenue and stuff. And that's where we were working those numbers and talking about like, how do you get to the ultimate amount that you want to make? And part of that I touched on just for a moment there was exactly what Kayla's explaining. And that's that you could look at how you could add more value to increase the price of the product so that maybe you're selling to fewer people as opposed to trying to sell a $25 product to like 2,000 people.
Exactly.
Which is very, it's a pretty big number. So
yeah.
You can kind of look at your business in those many different ways if you're looking at, wanting to increase the per unit or, per product price, looking at adding those bits of value. So I think that makes total sense. And so hopefully some of this is coming a little more full circle for you, especially if last week you were kind of like, whoa, all of the numbers.
Right. And I think this next slide is going to kind of wrap it all together, because if you are trying to sell to existing customers more, the way that you can do that is through these three ways: cross-selling, upselling, and downselling. And let me just touch on what each one is. So cross-selling is if you have two products that are perfect for the same person, but they're different products. So they show up to it could be services, okay? So I'm going to use services because it's coming to mind, but let's say you are a Pinterest assistant. You have a virtual assistant business and you focus on Pinterest marketing. That's your service. As a alternative service, you also have an Instagram management service. So when someone purchases their Pinterest service, you cross-sell them and say, hey, I've got this Instagram, service as well. It goes really well with your Pinterest service. It's a good time to bundle these together. That's kind of like cross-selling. Okay. Upselling is improving an existing service. So if you offer that Pinterest assistant service and you want to upsell them, say, hey, you want this Pinterest service, I can add an additional 100 pins a month to that service for this flat fee. So it's still within the Pinterest service, but you're upselling them, charging them a little more for a little added service every month. So that's what upselling is. And then downselling is you go ahead and you offer your Pinterest service now, like, I don't really have the money right now, maybe later. You're like, you know what? You really need this. I have this other thing. It includes 50 less pins every month, but it's also half the price. Maybe that works for you. So that's a downsell. So there are ways to convert more customers or convert more transactions based on these different types of techniques. So it really depends on what type of business you have, but almost every business can do this. So from services to physical products to digital products, you can implement this through automated sales funnels or through one-to-one selling techniques, or through passive sales funnels or active launching campaigns. There's so many different ways to implement these kinds of things. One, I know a lot of people who are probably watching this are thinking, how do I implement this? I want to automate it. I want to make money while I sleep. You know what I mean? Like, how do I do this? So I kind of want to touch on just a couple of the programs you can use to do upselling and cross-selling and things like that. Lots of systems use this. You could use WooCommerce if you have a shop on your page to do this. There's plugins that offer upselling, downselling, and cross-selling. You set it up a few times, and then once people go through the checkout process, they're offered things along the way. That's WooCommerce. You can use Sendowl to create these kinds of things as well. It's another cart type of service for physical or digital products. Or you can use an online course type of program. There's so many, like Teachable, Podia, right? What is it? Kajabi, so many. So it's not a matter of how you do it, because there's so many options out there. It's really understanding what's going to meet your customers' needs and why you might need to do this in order to scale your business. So if you're looking next year to grow your revenue by 20%, these are some of the techniques that could be easy wins for you because you've already got stuff ready. You just need to implement the technical stuff to get the offers in front of the right people at the right time.
Yay. So
speaking of the right time, this is like perfect. This is your customer's journey. I use this a lot when I'm teaching regarding everything. I always come back to this because ultimately this is the journey every person who interacts with you goes through. Now, hopefully, if they buy from you, they get all the way to the advocacy stage, which means they're an affiliate for you. They're sharing your products word of mouth. They're super proud to be your customers. So they're talking about you and selling your services for you because they are your advocates. But when it comes to scaling your business, each one of these steps in the customer journey can improve your bottom line. So when we talk about advocacy, when people get all the way through your sales funnel and they're raving fans, in order to scale your business, you might need to add an affiliate program so that you get more people sharing your products, sharing your stuff, and that may improve your bottom line. So that's one. What are the ways that you can improve the conversions and sales in your business? By adding more advocacy. So start thinking of the things that you can do to get more advocates in your business. Loyalty programs as well. If people are returning customers, maybe they get an additional 10%. That is another way to convert someone who was on the fence. They were almost ready to buy, but you now convince them, hey, you are a loyal customer of mine. I'm going to give you 10% off this upgraded product because you're always here buying from me. And they're going to be like, hell yeah, I'm going to buy this from you again. And then they're going to be like, where's your affiliate program? So those are some, yeah. So,
you're fine.
So those are, what's that?
I was going to say on the loyalty side. For some of the product businesses, you probably notice that if you go to like purchase one of your favorite products, like I like that Skin Iceland, facial product company, I will go and I'll purchase their moisturizer, and then they come back and they will send me an email. It says, thanks for purchasing. But don't forget the, gel patches for underneath your eye. We'll give you those for $15 instead of $25 or something like that. So even with the product businesses, you could be doing things like that on the backside where you're creating those email funnels to be able to give something back to those people who are purchasing from you on that loyal basis. And then I've seen different, things where you can set up and do, I think a lot of the affiliate programs and stuff even give you a kickback. So like with Airtable, for example, if I refer somebody to Airtable, they will give me a credit and they give that person a credit. So we're both getting something out of it, which makes me want to promote them even more than the fact that I already love their system and use it all the time.
Yeah, it's definitely a step in the customer journey that you don't want to miss. So if you are, selling products to people, you could put in your email funnel. Like a lot of times an email will fire off saying, welcome, here's your product. So glad to have you as a customer. Why not 2 weeks later have like a check-in, like, how's it going with your product? By the way, here's a 10% coupon for being my customer to this product. And oh, by the way, if you really loved it, share your testimonial on my website, which is advocacy. You know what I mean? Like you're touching on all the steps, which actually leads them to the next step. So by touching on all of these things within the customer journey, you're naturally leading your customers to become like super fans, like they just want to talk about you because they absolutely love how you've held their hand across every stage. And that ultimately grows your business because it just keeps that ball rolling and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So, it's almost, we don't need to talk about all of these things, but I'll just mention them really quick. But, like, let's go to the beginning. Awareness, growing awareness of your business, awareness of who you are, awareness of your product. So if you focus on that area of your business next year, that's going to grow your bottom line because you're growing your customers, which we talked about was one area that you could scale, right? Research. This is how people find out about you compared to other options. Okay, so this is on the customer journey. If they find out that you have a service and they really need that service, you better bet they're going to be like, how much is it? Oh, okay, it's how much? Okay, let me go to Google and see if I can find it for less. See who's offering that, see if they offer as many features. So you better bet your customers are going to be doing some research. So what can you do in that area of research to get people to make better decisions? Write a blog post reviewing your stuff, get more people to write about your stuff, get more testimonials. So what can you do to support that step? Create a facts page, which we talked about in the previous workshop. Right. So along the customer journey, you're supporting that research stage. And then the purchase, like supporting the purchase stage, that means making it smooth, making sure that people don't get hung up on things, making sure the forms are, easy to use, making sure you're answering all their questions along that customer service stage, right? And then building trust, actually delivering your product, giving them easy wins when they purchase your product or service. You suggest like, hey, in order to get immediate use out of XYZ, here's a tip, or, do this or whatever. So what can you do in the building trust stage to grow your business next year? And how is that going to support, maybe fewer refunds or, converting more people into advocates? Like, what are the things that you could do in your business to build more trust? And then obviously deliver your service and deliver the satisfaction. So making sure people are successful with your service or your product, making sure people are getting what they, wanted, and just delivering will, again, build that loyalty and stuff like that. So all of this really leads you to growing your business and really grows each of those three areas: your customers, your product, and your price.
Yep. And it ties back some of this too to your system. So I'm spinning the opportunity to tie back to different things too, because I wanted to make sure that this does come full circle for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So going back to your systems, if you're, going, oh yeah, I don't know how I could really increase the purchase experience, then maybe that's a good opportunity to evaluate that system and that process that you have, or have you even written it down to see, or getting, customer feedback and asking them like, hey, how was your purchase? Was there anything I could do to make it easier for you? Or, things like that. So if you are still trying to improve or figure out what you want that to be to build this journey so that your business can continue to scale with the more customers that you get, make sure that you are putting those processes in place, evaluating those, and then asking your audience, going back to those people who are purchasing from you. I think it also kind of falls into that building trust, because whenever someone reaches out to me and asks, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm flattered. Like, of course I'd love to give you some feedback. Like, thanks for taking but it kind of helps build a little bit of that trust, which, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm totally going to come back to the shop and talk to it, because they want to improve things. They want to know my opinion and some of that. So don't be afraid to ask those things to build that trust and to get the customer journey fine-tuned. And it's always something that's constantly improving. So it doesn't mean that everything you have in place right now has to be exactly what it's going to be in 6 months. Everything's going to continually improve, but this will definitely help you start scaling and focusing on that. So make sure that you tie back to some of those systems and things if that's kind of going through your mind while we're going through some of this.
Yep.
So next, how to know when to scale, because scaling is fantastic. We all want to get there and we want to get there fast, but how do you know when it really is time for your business to start looking at scaling? We've identified just kind of 3 different areas here. I'll touch on the first one, which is that your goals are met and your business is consistent. So when you find that you're consistently, whether you're on the service-based or the product-based side, but when you find that things are consistent, you've got a good flow of business, maybe you've got a good flow of clients who are purchasing your service and working with you, or maybe you've got, a good base of loyal customers who've been buying at everything you have, and you're hitting those, continual monthly goals when it comes to, revenue, when it comes to building your audience slowly, and all of those things that you kind of have. When you're hitting all of those markers and you're really ready to just kind of, okay, like, where do we go now? What do we do now? It's kind of getting to that point where your business is looking to scale. And maybe that's just on that customer front to start. Or maybe it means adding in another team member to free up more time for you to start expanding and growing your business.
Right. Yeah. Which kind of leads us to the next thing, which is, that it's time to scale when your customers are asking you for the next step, because it's awful. It's an awful feeling when you get lots of customers into your product and then it's like, okay, where do I send them from here? Like, they've had success. Now what? Right. And it's usually a natural step if you've got your goals are being met and your business is consistently growing, but your customers are like at a stopping point. What's the next step in your product lineup? And so that's when you know that it's time to start creating more opportunities for your customers to, send you some more money so that you can create another product or whatever. So, it's at that point when it's like, okay, what's the next thing that I can develop that truly gives value and transforms my customer into whatever their next step is. So I love examples. So, I keep talking about like an online course person. The next natural step might be a mastermind or some kind of a coaching group or some kind of a coaching experience, so it builds off of the knowledge that you're giving them, but creates a more high-end experience that maybe not everybody who takes your course is ready for, but if your customers are asking you for more help, they love your course, but they need more help, that's probably the next step.
Yep, absolutely. And so then the last one is that you have some support. So maybe you found a few key members to help you with creating the physical product, and they've kind of taken on the creation and making of it. So you feel like, oh, okay, I can start kind of letting go of that. Or maybe it's that you found a great, virtual assistant who's been doing really well handling the customer service and some of the organization on the back end of your business. So as you're able to release certain parts of your business, it allows you the opportunity opportunity to start focusing on other things and scaling. And maybe that is building out those product lines and other services and things that you can offer, and creating more relationships and other business partnerships and things like that to free you up to explore those things and those opportunities. So when you have the right support in place, you know for sure that you're ready to scale and ready to take it to the next level.
Yeah, which it's just a cycle. It's a continual cycle. You're never gonna find a moment where you're able to scale until you actually have that support system. Because once you max out on your time or max out on, your audience or your customers or whatever, then it's like hard to move to the next step when you don't have the support to help you grow the audience, to help you create the products. So it's all kind of like a natural progression. So it's definitely one of the pins, that you've gotta get that support in order to scale.
Yeah, and I think sometimes it's too just that reminder that that's the part where sometimes business is a bit more of an investment, and that you've got to also kind of take the leap sometimes to free up the time for you to be able to focus on those things. So if you're at that point where you're like, I'm not sure if I want to hire somebody because I'm just right on the cusp. But like you said, you're like Kayla was saying, if you're running out of time and you don't have time to, be able to add on another service or be able to do more for your customer, or be able to make more products, then you've got to make that investment in hiring someone to help you support those other areas of your business so that you can then hit it hardcore and move forward.
Yeah, because it's only through those kinds of decisions that you're going to grow, because you don't grow because you're comfortable. You grow because there is some kind of discomfort. Yep. So as soon as you feel that, discomfort, that you're on the beginnings of something new. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
So that was pretty much what we had for you guys when it comes to scaling. We wanted to take an opportunity to obviously let you see what other people are saying. We've got tons of great feedback from this whole, workshop series. As we are coming to a close on it, we still have our free Facebook group, so make sure to pop over there, ask us some additional questions. But most importantly, we have created a workbook for this one as well. We've had a workbook for each one so far, and of course we wanted one more for this. And I'm going to refer to my notes real quick so I can tell you a little bit of what we're including in this particular one. So around the scaling, some of the things that can be kind of scary to deal with are things like hiring people, what kind of questions to ask, do's and don'ts of scaling, all of those kinds of things we've roped into this workbook for you. So make sure that you've accessed and grabbed that workbook so that you can start working on getting to that point, knowing what it looks like, identifying where and when you can start scaling your business, and feel a little bit more confident kind of approaching that and getting into it.
Yep. Yeah, this is an exciting stage. So if you've made it to this point and you've gotten through this entire workshop and you're like, wait, what are the things that they're talking about in the previous workshops? I think that we should at least mention that there is an opportunity to grab the bundle of the entire workshops. So make sure that you do that if you haven't purchased all of the workshops. It kind of just ties everything together. So, and the workbook, of course, for each particular workshop is invaluable. It's really going to make the homework of it all, the things that you need to go and take action on, so much easier.
Absolutely. So make sure to grab all of those, grab all of the workshops and everything, because then you do have them forever. So you can go back and access them, go back and maybe grab some parts that you didn't grab before if you only picked up a couple of the workshops here and there. And again, just make sure to pop into the group, say hi, introduce yourself, let us know what questions you have and how we can continue to support you and your business.
Yep.
So thank you for joining us. And again, we're going to go back to social media because that's just, how this the name of the game for anybody in business these days. To make sure that you share with us. Let us know what you thought. Let us know if there were any aha moments or any questions that you have. Make sure to, tag us in your selfies and all that good stuff so that we can share it and help cheer you on in your business. And don't forget to hashtag us at Creative Boss Method. Yep, absolutely. Can't wait to see what you guys are doing. Yay. Well, have a fantastic week. We'll see you guys soon. Bye.